Yeah, the Texas Relays, we're going to get back to being normal. There's been no high schools there for the past 2 years, very limited groups in the university division, and so now they've opened it back up, and we're looking forward to really just having what we call a normal Texas Relays.
How are you guys feeling coming off of the West Kittley Invitation?
I think we felt good. It was a beautiful day, and we had an opportunity to see a lot of new people compete. Not everyone got to compete. There's some that'll compete this weekend that didn't last, and they'll be opening up. But I was real pleased with just such a beautiful day. A lot of people got to get back at it from running indoors, or some people that didn't, the discus, the 400 hurdles, the javelin, those people have been waiting all year. And so it was just fun as a whole team, put everybody out there at the same time and to have a fun day.
Did you see a little bit of a sort of transitional phase when they first, started on day one from the indoor to the outdoor?
I think it's really tough on the sprinters, the 60-meter people, the 60-meter hurdles, and now you got to run a full 100 meters and you got to run a full 110 meters. I think that takes a little transition. The 400 hurdlers have been running the 400, and so I don't think it was quite as much for them to run a 400 hurdles. But it takes a couple of 3 weeks, I believe, to transition from the indoor mindset. Everything's fast and quick, and a 200-meter track, you go around twice. And so I think it's a little bit of a transition, but I think we'll settle in pretty good in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
After seeing a couple of these teams during the indoor season, the indoor championships and things like that, getting back out there with a team like Texas, what's sort of the mindset going into this one?
Oh, it's going to be fun. I'm really anxious to go against them in a lot of events to see where we stack up, that we didn't have those events indoors. And we know what kind of team they have. But you get Florida, you get all these people all over the country. USC's coming, so you got East Coast, West Coast. So you're going to get to see a big group of people that you're going to see at the nationals and the regional level. So that'll be fun too.
We talked to a couple student athletes who, killed it this weekend, but didn't seem too happy with their performance still. Is that sort of the right mentality to have?
I think it is. The first week out, they have high goals, and I think some of them thought they might do a little bit better than they did, but it's a process, and I think it was fun to see them go and compete really well. And I think you'll see, as we settle in, everyone gets better each week. That's our goal.
What was the overall sort of reception from the team after the meet, finish?
Well, I think everybody was happy to be in a meet. Like I say, when you're out in that weather all day and then you have a beautiful day, it makes a big difference. So I think having good weather helped that. But I just think everyone was excited for everybody, and everybody was pulling for everybody. And I think that's what happens when you have an outdoor meet and you have the men and the women running back to back. Whereas indoor nationals, the women had their special day and the men had their special day, and it's just never everyone's there at the same time. And you'll see now, until we go to nationals, that's the way it'll be again. But all these other meets, everybody will be there. The women run first, and we'll run right behind them with the men, and you just see each event. And I think for our team and our culture, it just really helps us.
Everyone sort of has their preference of indoor season compared to outdoor season. When you were competing, did you have a preference?
I probably liked outdoor a little better than indoor, but I didn't get to run on this track when I was indoors. So, we didn't have very good facilities, and we had to travel far to get anywhere. And we only ran 3 or 4 meets, and so we all got to travel outdoors. But, the thing I like about outdoors is everybody's included. You just interviewed Garrett, and you've got a javelin thrower, you've got a discus thrower, you've got a 4x1 that you've got really good sprinters, but you never get to run indoors. And so those are things that just add to it. The hammer throw, and like I say, so there's just a few events you don't have, and I think a complete team as we are, it makes it more fun for me.
Do you feel like your team has a preference? It seems like there's a lot of excitement about, moving to that outdoors.
I think so. I think, after 6 to 8 weeks of running indoors too, I think you're catching them a little bit weary of indoors. And so to get outside, get some sun, and to have fun, I think this team's a little more excited about outdoors right now.
So how do you feel about your performance at the West Kittley Invitation?
It's still quite a shocker to me because I was expecting a good time, but I wasn't expecting that. Still a shock. I'm really proud of myself. I know I can run way faster than that, so I'm just looking forward to what else I can do.
How big is it for you to sort of start off that outdoor season in that way?
It's big. I remember when my coach looked at me, he was like, "Do you know the time?" I was like, "No, what was the time?" And he told me, and I just went ballistic. And then I found out that was the #1 time in the nation so far. And then all the pressure came on me, but I like pressure because, what makes diamonds is pressure. So I am really excited that I ran that time this early on because I'm only going to get faster from there.
And then heading to Austin this week, what's sort of the mentality going forward?
This week in Austin is really more focused on team. I'm on nothing but relays when I head into Austin, no open events. So I'm really just focused on my teams so we can go ahead and get a regional qualifying mark and we can be comfortable and set until then.
Seeing some of these teams, especially Texas and indoor, what are you sort of expecting that competition to sort of be like this week?
Texas is definitely a big competitor, especially in the Big 12. But, me and my team already said, when Texas comes here, this is our turf, that will never happen again. Hopefully we can live up to our word. But, you want competition, you don't want to ever go against people that aren't going to push you. So I think Texas in general will push me to be better and my team to be better as well.
Do you know which legs you're running in those relays?
For the 4x1, it's still up in the air for toss. I don't know. For the 4x4, I will always be first leg. I am running a sprint melody for Texas relays. I believe I'm doing the 200, and that's all I know so far.
Talk about just a little bit of how the transition from indoor to outdoor now has gone for you.
Oh, wow. Indoor was definitely hard for me because I did not perform the way I wanted to. I've never been an indoors type of person. So the transition from indoors to outdoors, my whole mentality shifted. I remember days after indoor was over and we went to practice, everybody seen the difference in me and I was like, it's outdoor season now. It's a different ball game. It's two completely different environments. So it was a huge transition for me, but I was ready for that transition because like I said, I did not perform the way I wanted to in indoors.
Speaking on that matter, what's it been like being here your first season at Texas Tech?
It's actually pretty exciting. I was telling my teammates, I was in a smaller conference, Conference USA. So just knowing I'm in Big 12 and having Texas Tech on my chest, and Big 12, it's like you have to carry yourself a certain way. And I like carrying myself to a higher standard. And I honestly love representing Texas Tech, and I love running for God, my coaches, and my teams.
Practice so much more of like a family environment, like obviously everyone gets along, but when you do get on the track with the Texas, like you mentioned before, does it feel different?
No, really want to say it feels different. When I step on the track, I go blank. That's one thing I do. I don't think about anything. I do pray right before I get on the track, and then when they say set, I'll take a quick little breath and say something really quick. But when I get on the track, everything goes out the window. It's just me and my lane. Everybody has their own lane. It's just who's going to finish first. So.
All right, so how do you feel after the West Kitley Invitational?
Pretty good. I PR'd, but form was still bad, so there's room for improvement for sure. Yeah.
Seems like the common trend when you guys do well, you still say that it's so bad. Where does sort of that mindset come from?
I don't know. It's just you can't just be satisfied by it, especially whenever you could do so much better. It's my form it doesn't look like I should be throwing as far as I did, so it's I could throw a lot farther. So just fix up the form and
How do you? Especially in javelin, I assume it's just sort of those reps, getting in the reps in to fix your form if you feel like somebody's off with it.
Yeah, it's I can only throw twice a week. Javelin, if you throw more than that, your arm's gonna break. Well, it depends on who you are, but so I'll do a lot of indoor, medicine ball stuff too. Just a lot of drills to kind of get the right technique down, and then you kind of try to put it all together when you practice and you actually throw.
Overall, as a team, how do you guys feel about going forward? How did this good start make you guys feel?
Pretty good. Yeah. There's a lot of good performances, a lot of regional qualifying. Well, what should be regional qualifying marks. So there's some meets I threw and they're pretty windy. I know my conference meet my first year, the wind was so bad that my jab was getting blown out of sector. So it's just kind of everyone has the wind in the meet, so it's not good for PRs, but it's not bad necessarily for competition because everyone's throwing with it. So you just have to learn, like if it's a strong, headwind, you can't throw it up high. You gotta kind of, or if it's tailwind, you do the opposite. And so you just kind of have to adapt to the wind.